So first, let me just welcome everybody to our annual meeting of the Candidates Forum. Jack Slater is going to preside over this, but I just want to both welcome you. I'm John Deely, the chairman of the committee, and also invite you at the end of the meeting. There'll be two additional segments beyond the forum. One is that Laura Burns is going to provide a short presentation on a warrant article that would be of interest to many of us at the town meeting related to the electric. And then the second or third item tonight is we have our business meeting, and we're generally over by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So you're welcome to stay and see that and participate, and perhaps you might have some interest in the town committee and its activities and want to explore it further, which happy to hear from you. Just give me a call anytime. And so without further ado, I just want to welcome our most distant participant this evening, Jasper Lee, who's sitting there in his shirt and tie all the way from Australia, right, Jasper?
Oh, you got there.
Jasper is a
long flight.
Freshman in college in Australia and a lifelong member of the Hingham Democratic Town Committee. So
well, congratulations.
Jasper. Glad you could join us. And
Thanks.
Let me now turn it over to Jack, our newest member of the committee. Jack?
Okay, thanks, John. So first of all, on behalf of the Hingham Democratic Town Committee, thank you to the candidates for the upcoming town election for attending tonight. Just to remind folks, the election is on Saturday, April 27th, and town meeting, as was mentioned earlier, is on Wednesday, the 24th. So thank you all for standing for office and the effort that you put in. Since an original thought on my part, but Hingham does truly run on volunteers, and we thank you for that. So as you all know, there are no contested races, but we're still having an election. So here are our ground rules that we put out for the candidates and for members of the audience to follow. We would ask that each candidate limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Suggest that each candidate briefly describe their involvement in town government and to discuss any issues which they believe are coming importance in the next few years. Then there will be an opportunity for questions or responses from other candidates in the audience. Again, we try to limit questions to 30 seconds and maybe responses to 60 seconds. We're certainly not going to be overly zealous about that, but we do want to keep it moving along. Also mention this is being recorded, and which will be posted on our website and also on social media. So let's get rolling here. So I'll call on Mike Puzo, our town moderator, first. He was here.
I think you're on mute, John.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself, John.
So Michael is back again.
All right.
So Jack, why don't you?
Yeah, so Mike, if you would like lead us off, that would be great. So is he muted? John?
I can't.
Unmuted?
I don't think I can unmute him. I can ask to unmute. Oh, okay. I guess there's a place I can ask him to unmute. Hello, Michael. Michael saying, cannot unmute self, host not allowing. I don't know what the hell that means. All right, let me look at his thing here. Um, do you, Jack, have a phone number for Michael? I could call him, see what his problem is. I just put it in the
No.
chat to me, just to me.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Anybody
for
have,
this,
anybody have
Yeah.
Mike's phone number?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I do have it on this list. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, so why don't you go on to the next person, Jack, and then we can deal with Mike, okay?
Okay. So that would be Carol Falvey, our town clerk. But she's also,
Hi.
oh, no, unmuted.
Can you all hear me?
Ah, there you
Yes.
are. Hi, Carol.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you both, John and Jack, for having us, or having all of us and myself tonight. And I am one of the people running for re-election this year, running for re-election to town clerk. It has been an honor for me to serve in this role for the past 3 years. I can't believe how quickly time has gone by. And I've learned so much during this period of time about the breadth of services that the town clerk's office offers to the community. I think when we were all running 3 years ago, none of us really could grasp how many things Eileen McCracken would do for the town and the amount of services that she provided. So it's been a real learning experience for me. Obviously, being an election year, voting is first and foremost on everyone's minds. As part of that process, we register voters, we process early vote by mail applications, and we run the elections. But in our everyday life, we issue and distribute birth and death certificates almost every day. We post hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meeting agendas in compliance with the open meeting law. We oversee the filing of marriage intentions, and we field public record requests. We issue business certificates and more dog licenses than I had any idea I would be involved with before I got into this office. We swear in new residents serving on committees as well as new police officers. And of course, we assist with the town meeting and submit filings to the Attorney General's office. As most of you probably know, when I ran for this position 3 years ago, I brought both municipal and charitable experience, along with my legal background, to the position. Previously, I had served on the Hingham School Committee for 6 years, and I was a trustee and past president of the Hingham Education Foundation. Because of these experiences, I really understood the workings of town government and the various roles that we all play in the community. I grew up in Hingham, part of a family which instilled in all of us the importance of public service. I graduated from Hingham High School a million years ago, the College of the Holy Cross, and Suffolk University Law School. My husband, Mark Van Dyne, and I have raised our family here, and our 2 kids went to Hingham High School and now are off living their lives, having great careers themselves. In the term ahead, I would like to focus on expanding our communication efforts and hope to work with other stakeholders in this effort. People receive information in so many ways, and I think there's more that I can do and the town can do to learn and adapt to those communication channels. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the help and support I've received from Eileen McCracken over the past 3 years. She, in her retirement, has been always available to me, and she has really helped to make my transition and the transition of the entire office for the town. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Would anybody like to ask Carol a question or?
Oh. Looking for my,
Ellen? Yeah, do you want to?
I don't have a
Sure.
question, but
Ellen
I
Whalen?
will, I'm sorry, I don't have my mouse or my keypad. Oh, I was just going to say that I volunteered for the first time to be an election worker, and it was a lot of fun. And I would encourage, I know it takes a lot of people to do the shifts, and some people work those, 12, 14 hours. So I would encourage everybody. It was really kind of a blast. So I'll put in that little plug while I'm here.
Thank you, Ellen.
Jack, we have a couple of, Ann Leland is
Okay,
raised her hand.
good. Ann, do you want to unmute her, John? Or can she unmute herself?
She can unmute.
I can unmute me.
Oh,
Here we go.
there you go. Okay, please go ahead, Ann. Sorry.
So, Carol, I think that was a great presentation. I'm curious if you think there are any like changes to the way the office has been administered that you'd like to see enacted or anything, of that nature. It seems like you have a very full plate. You and your office have a very full plate on all the things we think that you might do, keeping everybody registered and legal or something. But are there any other things, like if you had 7 seconds of free time, are there any other changes you might want to make to what's included?
Well, you're right about the 7 seconds of free time. It's, I have spent a lot of my past 3 years, learning, getting up to speed, feeling comfortable with how the office runs and the various functions that we provide. Certainly in terms of our historic records, archiving some of that would be something that I hope once we get past this year with, we still have 3 elections in front of us. I would like to spend a little bit of time delving into. I mean, it is a very expensive proposition, and there has been some of it done in the past. So it really would be a matter of, kind of doing some research for grants and perhaps even working with the library on some of that function, which is something that I hope to get to in 2025.
Great, thanks.
Anything else?
Just curious, are you taking any particular steps? There's so much static about election safety and free of any interference. Is there anything different that you do now than you did, or Eileen would have?
I mean, so I'm so brand new, kind of looking at everything with fresh eyes for sure. And Eileen and I have talked about this a lot. There's I'm a little bit of a rule follower for sure. So, we get a lot of direction from the Secretary of State's office. And so everything that they tell us to do, I make every effort to implement. And it's interesting, as I've been in the job, I've talked to other town clerks from other towns that have been around for a while. They all sort of have their own way of doing things. So it's been interesting for me, but for sure it's, we have a number of people that are what we call inactive, people that have really moved away from Hingham. And I can't take them off a voter roll unless they tell me to, or they register to vote in another location. And the only other way then to kind of clean up my list is for me to send out a notification to them to say, hey, you haven't voted or you haven't filled out a street listing in X amount of years, and you need to tell me that you still live here. And if you don't, 4 years from now, I can finally delete them, because it's 2 state election cycles that between the time I give them the notice and before I can actually take action. So we did spend a lot of time and effort last fall, and we went through that whole list and sent out those notifications, several thousand actually. So, but all those people are inactivated, because once once we receive notification that they may have moved or they don't return a census, we can inactivate them, which the sort of the protection then at the election is if they were to show up to vote, they have to sign an affidavit saying they still live in Hingham, and they do have to show identification as well, showing that they still live in Hingham. So there is sort of a safety feature there.
Mhm.
It protects, but so that's something that I've done this past year, having learned about the process. And so I think that it was a very productive step forward for us.
No, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So unless there's any other questions,
Excuse me one sec. Do you got,
yeah.
if we want to help at the polls or during the election, where would we get the information or just reach out to you?
So reach out to us, and we do have some new volunteers that we will be in touch with during the summer and do some training in preparation for September and November elections.
Okey doke. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. All right, thanks a lot, Carol. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
And I have to say, when we mentioned town meeting, I can't help but think of your dad.
I know. Moving the
Town.
question.
Mr. Town meeting, right, exactly. So is Mike still muted, I guess? So John, has he been able to? No. All right, so why don't we keep moving here?
John is
So-
also muted.
Yeah, I see that. John, you're also muted.
I was trying to reach him on the phone. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Michael, are you there? Hello? He's showing as being actually a participant now.
Now I
which,
see him, but it shows muted.
uh,
The mute button's on.
Still that same issue. Huh? Well, I've asked him to call me, so keep going and hopefully
Yeah,
he'll
so
call.
why don't we keep rolling here? So Laura, Laura Burns, if you go next, that'd be great.
Thanks very much. I am running for re-election to the Municipal Light Board. And thanks so much to Democrats for sponsoring this event. Hingham Light's mission statement, adopted in 2019, includes the traditional role of delivering affordable, reliable electricity and adds a commitment to sustainable operations and a promise to achieve carbon-free electricity portfolio. In 2021, the town of Hingham adopted a goal of reaching net zero carbon emissions across the whole town by 2040. When we transition away from fossil fuels, we are inevitably turning to electricity to meet our power needs. So this will both increase demand on our system and bring changes to the seasonal and daily profile of demand, and some of that may be dramatic, those changes. My first goal is to help ensure that Hingham Light is prepared for the future so it can maintain its 131-year record of delivering affordable, reliable electricity into the era of mass electrification. To do that, Hingham Light needs to complete an upgrade of the transmission service coming into our substation. Right now, all of our electricity comes into town on 2 lines, which are on the same set of poles. This is a profound vulnerability. If those poles went down, the entire town would be dark. But fixing this is a lengthy and large project. It involves bringing new transmission line underground over a different route from Weymouth to a new substation located right next to the old one. It's fallen to the current board to take the painful step of raising rates in order to pay for this project. We're putting revenue from increased rates into a depreciation fund to allow us to buy down the size of the bond we'll need to avoid a much larger rate shock later when the time comes to start building. This project is urgent for 2 reasons. The original purpose was to ensure reliability. But since the time it was first proposed, a study has shown that we need the increased capacity, which this new line represents, to meet the expected rise in demand from the trend towards electrification. With this project completed, we'll be well situated to meet the demands of the future. I have 2 new goals for my second term, both of which have unanimous support from the board and the general manager. I would like Hingham Light to adopt a demand response program, which will help cut peak energy use. Customers would opt in and be paid to allow their home appliances to have their energy uses lowered at peak times. Customers would save by cutting their usage, and all ratepayers would save even more because peak time energy is the most expensive energy that we buy. And my second goal is to change the way Hingham Light charges for electricity. Right now, every kilowatt hour a customer buys is charged at the exact same rate, even though the price Hingham Light pays for that energy varies widely over the day. In a rate structure called time of use, customers pay more than the average rate for peak time energy and far less at other times. Customers can save by shifting their electricity use to cheaper times a day, and all ratepayers save by lowering the amount of expensive energy we buy, which is also the dirtiest energy we buy. Establishing a demand response program and shifting to time of use rates will put Hingham Light and its ratepayers in a great position for the future. Thanks very much for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. So are there any questions for Laura?
Ellen has a question.
Oh, sorry, Ellen. Ellen, did you have a question?
Yep, sorry.
Okay, sorry, please
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
know,
Sorry.
our rates are really great compared to surrounding communities because we're municipally owned and don't charge ourselves a profit. So how, say the rates are going up for this new line, are we still going to be in competitive and the envy of our neighbors?
Yes, the rates have gone up already. There was a 6% rate hike last summer and a 6% rate hike in January, and we have scheduled another one for next January. However, my husband, who keeps a spreadsheet on every detail of our electrical rate, tells me that we are not, that in real dollars, our electric rates are lower than they were 3 years ago when I joined the board. So we're kind of not even actually keeping up with inflation. But our rates right now are about 19 cents per kilowatt hour, and National Grid and Eversource charge anywhere from 26 to 40 cents, depending. So yes, we are still going to be, and historically we're right in the middle of the pack for municipal light plants. It'll be interesting to me to see when the next data comes out about what other light plants are charging, where we fall in the pack, but I'm assuming we'll still be pretty much in the middle, but we'll find out.
I know I've started gathering information on possibly converting my heating system to heat pumps and talking to people, friends who have done it from other areas. They're impressed by our rates. You know, they said they made
are.
the change even though they're paying more for electricity. So we're in a good position for that. All right. Oh, okay.
Thanks, Ellen.
Before I mute myself, any chance of batteries, giving customers battery storage?
Yes, this is going to be part of the demand response program.
It is, okay.
I've been holding off suggesting that we offer an incentive for a residential battery because there really needs to be some kind of benefit to the ratepayers when we give an incentive. And the benefit to the ratepayers, our incentives will be for people who agree to enroll their batteries in the demand response program so that we can make an agreement between the battery owner and the light plant about if the light plant could muster 200 or 300 residential batteries with agreements with owners to discharge them at peak times, that would cut prices for everyone, exerting a downward pressure on rates. And also, as I mentioned, all of the fossil fuel energy that we buy comes between 5 and 7 in the evening at peak times. And if we were discharging batteries at that time, all of that is fossil fuel energy that we would not be using. So it's definitely going to be part of that program when we get there. We're working on it right now.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laura. And as John mentioned, Laura's going to make a presentation after this is finished about an article at town meeting. And so Kathy, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just had a quick question for Laura. Laura, what are we doing about charging station? Are we making progress here in Hingham? And
we have, yes.
yes,
okay. We have, thanks to available state grants, HMLP now operates a public charging network of 17 chargers at 6 locations: Lynchfield, Station Street parking lot, Carlson Field, South Shore Country Club, Town Hall, and the HMLP front parking lot. So I think we got a lot now. Go on down and charge your car. No, don't charge your car. Charge your car at home, because the level 2 chargers are 22 cents per kilowatt hour and the level 3 chargers are 35 cents per kilowatt hour. We're charging out of towners through the nose for their electricity compared to what we pay at home. So charge your car at home.
Good to know. Yeah, thank you.
And those were all put into the state grant. Ratepayers did not pay to put those in.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thanks very much, Laura. So, John, were you able to reach Mike? You're muted again, John.
We're working on it, so keep going.
Okay. All right. So next up, I have Tim Miller Dempsey. So Tim, if you would go ahead, that'd be great.
Hi, thank you. Just go with the speech.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
great. Give me 1 second. Say juggle windows. Yeah. So, thank you to the Hingham Democratic Town Committee for the opportunity to speak. I'm Tim Dempsey, a candidate for re-election to Hingham School Committee. I live in Hingham with my husband and 2 children, both at Hingham High School. I'm a 26-year public school teacher in Somerville at a therapeutic behavioral school, which is part of the public school system. Before I was on school committee, I spent 3 years as the chair or co-chair of the Hingham CPAC, the Special Education Parents Advisory Council in Hingham, which is an important group providing parents of special education students with a voice. And I was elected to the school committee during the pandemic 3 years ago. And the last 3 years have shown us exactly how significant that crisis was for our children and how far we've had to climb to overcome learning loss and the social emotional damage that the pandemic did. This continues to be a challenge that we're addressing head on, and our work is not yet finished. For this reason, I'm fully dedicated to the continuation and enhancement of our multi-tiered systems of support, the MTSS program. MTSS has proven to be an invaluable framework for addressing the diverse needs of our students and ensuring that every child has access to the resources and support they need to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally as we continue to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm also excited for the opening of the new Foster Elementary School. This state-of-the-art facility will provide our students with modern learning environments that promote innovation, collaboration, and academic excellence. We are committed to ensuring a smooth transition for students, staff, and families as we embark on this exciting new chapter in our district's history. Furthermore, we support the ongoing improvements in special education. It is imperative that we provide exceptional support to students with special needs and their families, and we're committed to implementing policies and funding measures that prioritize best practices, responsiveness, empathy, and collaboration. In our efforts to maintain a positive relationship with our educators, we are diligently working toward closing fair contracts with the Hingham Education Association. Teachers and educational staff play a vital role in shaping the future of our students and community, so we are committed to ensuring that they receive competitive compensation and are supported in their professional endeavors. This has been a very challenging negotiation cycle as we work within the town's financial means to reach contracts that demonstrate our respect and support for all of Hingham's educators that is sustainable for Hingham. We simply can't sign contracts that can only be paid for with layoffs that will harm our children. We cannot follow the COVID crisis with another self-imposed crisis of staffing. And afterward, we are also fully dedicated to working to heal the relationships that may have been damaged during this negotiation cycle. In conclusion, I'm deeply committed to advancing the educational experiences and opportunities available to the students of Hingham. I look forward to collaborating with our community stakeholders to ensure that every child receives the support, resources they need to succeed. Together, we can continue to further Hingham's vision of a school district that fosters excellence, equity, and innovation for every student. Please use your 2 votes for school committee for my friend and colleague, Carrie Nee, who you'll hear from next, and myself.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Do we have any questions?
I might suggest that we let Carrie go, and then you can ask both of us questions because we're not really running against each other.
Okay.
We're kind of a team.
Okay.
That
Sure.
just and then to save time.
No, that's fine. Sure. Carrie, would you like to go ahead then?
Yeah, thank you. So thank you to John, Jack, and the Hingham Democratic Town Committee for hosting us tonight. My name is Carrie Nee, and I'm running for a 3rd term on the Hingham School Committee. Our family has lived in Hingham for just about 18 years. I grew up on the South Shore, so when we were looking for a place to settle and raise our family, we chose Hingham for its history, its natural beauty, and for its excellent schools. We love this town, and I feel honored to serve it. I never thought I would get involved in town government. I'm an attorney and a former freelance musician, but our family circumstances took me in another direction. My husband, Glenn, and I have 2 boys with significant disabilities, so we haven't taken the traditional path. For me, that meant becoming a professional volunteer, which I now understand is what Hingham runs on. Prior to joining the committee, I served for years on the South Elementary PTO board and as president for 2 years. I'm a founding board member and current vice president of South Shore SNAP, the Special Needs Athletic Partnership. And I was a founding board member of the Hingham Unity Council, among my other volunteer opportunities. So this is my 6th year on the school committee, and I served 2 years as chair. And I served during a historically challenging time to be on a school committee. Throughout all of it, I'm proud that we stayed laser focused on what is best for students and for Hingham. As a committee, I would say our highest priority and most recent challenge is contract negotiations with all 7 HPS unions. I serve on the chair of the negotiations subcommittee, and I'm proud of the work we did to collaborate and quickly reach agreement with our bus and van drivers union, as well as our custodial union. We're currently working with our other unions, or will be soon, to reach competitive contracts. We know what an important role our educational staff play in shaping the future of our students and community, so we are committed to ensuring that they are compensated competitively while working within the town's financial means. Over the past 6 years, we've accomplished a lot. We developed a new strategic plan for the district. We built a new leadership team. We supported the building of a new and much needed Foster Elementary School. And we worked with the town to pass an override along with a financial plan to ensure a sustainable budget. While there will continue to be challenges for the school department and committee, I'm optimistic because we have skilled, dedicated people in place at every level who truly care about our students. I'm honored to be part of that work. I ask for one of your 2 votes on April 27th and ask you to vote for my friend and colleague Tim too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Carrie. So any questions for Carrie or Tim? Well, since I don't see any, let me ask a question then. I'm curious how you're obviously during COVID, there was a lot of time lost, or perhaps not time, but lack of instruction for kids, or disruption of instruction, maybe is the best way to say it. How do you, what are you doing, and how is the system trying to get kids back up to the level that they should be at?
We did Carrie and I didn't talk about who would answer first. I talked in my opening statement.
Tag first. All right.
I talked in my opening statement about the MTSS system, the multi-tiered system of supports that Hingham has implemented. That includes we get data sets on students from the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. So we can really take a granular focus on not just the subject areas, but the specific skills that they're working on throughout as they progress through the elementary schools. And we can really see that right now, Hingham's kids, because of the incredible work that the teachers and administration has done, are really back up to pre-COVID numbers, which not many communities can say. So which is not our end goal. We're going to continue to keep improving and hopefully end up with better student performance than before COVID. But I think we are doing very good academic progress in overcoming COVID. Social and emotionally, I'm not so sure. I think we still have a lot of work to do in that respect.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the investment we made with the override in not just the data and the tools, but also in the staff has made a huge difference. The positions we added it's really paying off, and it's exciting to be able to see the data and the strides that our youngest learners especially are making. I would agree with Tim. The social emotional challenges that's different, and we've been working as a committee and as a district to address that.
Okay, well, thank you both. Kathy, I think your hand went up first, so calling you.
Yes, I actually have 2 questions. First question is about the negotiations, and we're hearing on the radio or whatever about cities that have gone through, or school systems that have gone through difficult negotiations or even strikes, that they're now handing out pink slips to large number of teachers and even teachers with long-term standing. I'm concerned, will that be happening here in Hingham? Do you see a way to avoid that. And then my other question is just maybe a little
Starts at 8:30.
just something that people are talking about how kids whose
I'll join
parents
you
have
at
flexible time
8:45.
believe that they also have flexible time,
Excuse me,
and
is
that
it
many kids are
Sarah
taking.
that's doing that?
So I
Oh.
text them, like, I'm sorry, like what am I saying?
Are we okay?
Could you mute yourself?
Who's ever a host, can you mute other people?
Okay.
Oh, she stopped, I guess. Okay.
Okay. All right. So just my question is, are we saying that in Hingham that kids are taking Mondays off or Fridays off, that it's kind of like because of the pandemic and the flexibility that had to happen during the pandemic, that mentality is carrying over and kids think that they also have flexible time, just like maybe their parents do at their jobs. I don't know if you're seeing any evidence of that or if anyone's keeping statistics on that.
Well, the first question, Tim, do you mind if I start
No, please.
and jump in? So the first question about negotiations, yeah, we're seeing the same articles, Braintree, Andover, and it's concerning.
Yeah.
We're doing everything we can to not be in that position. We are limited under Proposition 2.5 as far as what we can offer the staff. We budgeted for the, increases in the override budget that are commensurate with it keeps our staff in where they are in relation to our benchmark towns. The offer that's on the table right now is in line with what Newton got after their teacher strike.
Okay.
So hopefully it should be a reasonable, and we also included a sizable increase for the paraprofessionals because everyone agrees they need to make more money.
Yes.
So that's something we're working to do. Tim and I are both on the negotiating team, so we're pretty familiar with all of this, but yeah, we don't want to become a Braintree or an Andover where we're making really painful cuts that just decimate the school system. We've made so much progress over the past few years with the override and the additional positions that we need to keep that going. As far as the flexible time, I think it's something, it's been an issue for Hingham schools since before COVID. We have families that will take Fridays off to go skiing, for example, or leave early for vacations. That's something, it's been an ongoing issue that the district is trying to try to address. I think at the high school, it's not so much of an issue because there's a pretty stringent attendance policy, but it's more the middle school. I'm hearing just anecdotally from families that they see that as kind of their last hurrah before they get to the high school, so they'll leave on vacation. So that's something that I know. I serve as the committee liaison to the middle school council, and that's something we've talked a lot about, educating parents about how important it is to keep the consistency and trying to get the parents to kind of encourage the kids to be in school. But it's something we've definitely talked about.
Yeah, it's a focus across the state. DESE's really made
Yeah.
student attendance their major focus of this past year and is really pushing schools to implement policies to get students physically into schools more. And Hingham's certainly part of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess going back to, if I can just say something about the negotiations, I think Carrie summed up where we are pretty well. I think the point that really needs to be driven home is that right now, where we are in negotiations, we've given what we can give in and pay for. Anything further that we give needs to be paid with layoffs because we don't have access to any more money to pay for people. People talk about free cash from the town. That's not controlled by school committee. We don't have control over any of those accounts. And just, I think one of the intangibles of this is sort of the division that it creates within the town. I have, where I teach in Somerville, my co-teacher lives in Newton and she has small children. So I've really feel like I've gotten a close-up look at what has happened to the community of Newton in their, with their strike. And I mean, the message that I'm getting is avoid this at all costs because it has been so damaging to Newton, not just in the rift between the teachers and the town, but between the schools and the police, between the, I mean, this, if we think there's a lot of division in Hingham, it's Newton's unlike anything that my co-teachers ever seen. So I'm really dedicated to trying to avoid that and just understanding that this isn't an anti-union movement. I'm a member of the same union that the statewide teachers union that we're negotiating with. So there's not a pro-union and anti-union side in this. There's two sides coming together to try to live within our means.
That's good to hear.
Mhm.
Thank you.